Turning out to the Detroit riverfront, it is a beautiful time of year to go downtown, walk along the water, and take advantage of some of the changes and the development that the Riverfront Conservancy has worked on, and there is more to come. Here's Mark Wallace.
When you think about Detroit, 300 years ago, people were landing at that location. It's in our bones, it's in our DNA, it's in our hearts in a certain way, and the riverfront has really just extended that use and become a really special gathering place where there's no true Detroit story at the riverfront. It's one place, and everyone feels welcome.
The growth has been really amazing in the last couple of years, and what I love about it, it's just no longer this one strip. There's so many spokes now that you're working on that lead people there, that lead people now to other pockets. There's the connection. There's no longer just these pockets.
That's
and talk a little bit about some of the work.
Well, we're really excited about that, and if you look at it, starting at Cobo Hall and Joe Louis Arena, all the way down to GM with a fountain, and Rivard Plaza with a carousel, Mount Elliott Park with a water park, and then the Butterfly Gardens down at Gabriel Richard Park. It's really a series of public spaces, and then when we built the DeQuinder Cut and started managing that, everyone realized, oh my gosh, it's great to have these non-motorized opportunities to access the riverfront. So the planning exercise we just completed with the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation and the City of Detroit Planning Department with Maurice really allowed us to identify additional opportunities to make those connections. So if you love the DeQuinder Cut, we have 2 more opportunities that we're going to be building over the next 2 years, which will be very similar to that type of experience. Old train lines and old biking paths that'll take people from those neighborhoods straight to the waterfront. And
some of the plans now that we're seeing, the renderings of having cafes and and really starting to develop this space along the water is exciting, to say the least.
It is, and it's been a long time coming. Yeah, places are really activated by their neighbors, and so our idea that building the public space would stimulate economic development is really that second phase. But what we want to do is make sure that economic development is not some suburban spaceship that lands on the riverfront. We want to make sure that it feels like Detroit, it's special like Detroit, and it's something we can be proud of as a city of Detroit. So yeah, it really matters for us to curate what comes next. And a big idea that came out of that riverfront planning process is that authentic places are often built off of historic renovation instead of new construction. So the riverfront's pretty unique. It's not like Midtown where there are a lot of old buildings you can bring back online, but there are a couple of old buildings. So we think that starting with the old historic character of that neighborhood is really the way to stimulate and improve the quality of what comes in the new environment.
Because how many times do you get an opportunity to be able to plan like this and to have that kind of thoughtful, like, what do we want this space to be and what do we want it to look like? Because for the next 50 years or so, it's almost heady in terms of saying, gosh, where can we be?
That's right.
From there.
Well, and it's amazing. Our next planning exercise is going to focus on the West Riverfront. And we bought a 22-acre park over there, the old Free Press site. Tore down the old Free Press printing plant, and we've opened that up to the public. So it's already starting to be a thing. But that's a really exciting opportunity for us as well. We're going to turn that into a world-class park. We're very excited about that opportunity. And it's the sort of thing, I mean, it's once in a lifetime to be able to build a park for the city that you love, return it to the people, and know that for hundreds of years, people are going to be coming down there, making memories, staying healthy, interacting with nature. It's really a wonderful opportunity.
Our thanks to Mark Wallace. Mark, we'll see you along the water this summer. Well, now I'd like to introduce you to Rachel Lutz. If you've ever had to buy the perfect dress for an event, you may know her. She's the owner of 2 popular stores in Midtown. One is called the Peacock Room. The other is called Frida. And she took a chance on starting retail in the city when a lot of people told her she was simply nuts. Now she's expanding into the Fisher Building with a new store and challenging the assumptions of shopping habits, development, and entrepreneurship. Take a look.
I had no plans for a physical expansion. Business has been great at the Peacock Room in Frida. Frida, we actually just doubled the size of the store in anticipation of the Q Line opening. And the Fisher Building approached me about a month ago and planted an idea. And I said no at first. I said no more stores. And then I thought, you know what? How do you say no to the Fisher Building? It is just magnificent architecture. It's the world's largest art object, they call it. And I really, really believe in New Center. I believe in the Fisher Building. The developers, the platform, they really have a vision for not just New Center, but Brightmoor, Island View. They're really investing in a lot of areas in Detroit that haven't seen a lot of development on this scale, really during my lifetime. So how do you say no to that?
Yeah, I know. So now you're part of it. So what is the third store going to be like? Is it going to be obviously a little different than what you already have?
They're all different brands. So the Peacock Room is kind of 20s to 50s Hollywood inspired, very retro, vintage inspired. Frida's more bohemian, more casual, so jeans, leggings, sweaters. Yama is the new store. Yama is named after Yamasaki, my favorite architect, who left a really big footprint in Detroit. If you know anything about Yamasaki, he was very clean lines, modern. So we're looking at very architecturally inspired retail, mostly women's apparel.
You know, I think it's really interesting, and I love your story, and you and I have been friends now for a little bit, and I've loved to see the growth of, you are the quintessential small business owner who came in and took a chance when I'm sure a lot of people said, you're crazy to be investing the way you are in that area of Detroit, plus with retail, with small retail that everyone said, nah, everyone's going to order online now.
Yeah, people did tell me I was crazy. They said that you shouldn't be doing a business in Detroit, which I thought was the opposite. It was like the best place to open a business. Retail is dying. I think we've proved that wrong. Bad retail is dying. And really, I mean, I could not have picked a better location, a better time. So, you know, you go in when there's an opportunity there. And I saw opportunity where I think a lot of people just look at Detroit as face value, and they just skim past all the richness that's there, and frankly the market that's there. It's an underserved market. So as chains continue to overlook Detroit to some point, I think that they're missing a huge opportunity, and I hope that they look at successes like mine as there is a market there, it deserves to be served, and we need to serve it, and we can serve it well, even better than they do out in the suburbs.
Have you kind of become a de facto mentor for people who are looking to open small businesses, or say, gosh, I'm going to go talk to Rachel because this is how she's done it, or gotten through some of the red tape? Have you found that it's easier for people to come in with small business in Detroit now?
There has not been a lot of red tape for me. I know that the restaurant industry can be very different.
Right.
But retail, the barrier to entry is really quite low. I started my business maxing out a credit card and got creative with the financing. It's very humbling that other people come to me for advice, but I'm happy to give it because I wouldn't have been able to start my businesses without the amazing support network. The Detroit entrepreneurial scene is just, everybody's so supportive of one another. They really want to see each other succeed. So it was the perfect time for that as well. Like, that's the network that helped me launch, and that's what I want to help do for other entrepreneurs.